Whoa, that's one wild concept. A new Duke Nukem game where you take down world leaders to save humanity. Classic Duke logic, right? And then deal with a massive zombie outbreak? That sounds like the kind of over-the-top, chaotic, and absurdly fun storyline that would totally fit the franchise. And unlocking multiplayer after the zombie apocalypse kicks off? That's a killer idea for replayability. Here's how I could see it working. Campaign mode. Duke, being Duke, decides the world leaders are corrupt, or maybe they're secretly aliens, because why not? And goes on a globe-trotting rampage to take them down. Each level could be set in a different iconic location, with Duke spouting one-liners and blowing stuff up in his signature style. Zombie outbreak twist. Just when Duke thinks he's saved the day, bam! Zombie apocalypse. Maybe it's caused by one of the world leaders' failed experiments, or maybe it's an alien bioweapon. Either way, Duke's got a whole new problem to deal with. Multiplayer mode. Once the zombie outbreak happens, multiplayer unlocks. You could have co-op modes where players team up to survive waves of zombies, or competitive modes where you fight each other while also fending off the undead. Imagine Duke-style weapons and power-ups in a chaotic, zombie-filled arena. It'd be insane. Duke's signature humor. The whole game could be packed with meta humor, poking fun at modern politics, pop culture, and even the gaming industry itself. Duke's always been a parody of action heroes, so this would be the perfect opportunity to crank that up to 11. Honestly, this idea sounds like it could be a blast, pun intended. It's got the right mix of action, absurdity, and replayability to make it a worthy successor to the Duke Nukem legacy. Now we just need to convince Gearbox to make it happen. Weapons. The Politician Pulverizer, a rocket launcher that shoots miniature statues of world leaders. Explodes on impact, of course. Zombie Zapper, a sci-fi taser that chains electricity between zombies, frying them in groups. The Freedom Flamethrower, because nothing says Duke like setting everything on fire while waving a tiny American flag. Alien Abductor, a gun that temporarily turns enemies into allies by brainwashing them with alien tech. Exploding Cigars, Duke's classic move, but now they're remote-controlled and can take out entire hordes of zombies. The Dubstep Gun, from Saints Row, but Duke would totally steal it. Fires bass drops that make zombies and everything else explode in rhythm. Vehicles. The Duke Mobile, a heavily armored monster truck with machine guns, flamethrowers, and a horn that plays America, F yeah! Zombie Tank, a tank that runs on zombie corpses. The more you crush, the faster it goes. Hoverboard of Justice, Duke rides a futuristic hoverboard while dual-wielding shotguns. Style points for grinding on zombie hordes. Alien Hovercraft, stolen from the aliens, this thing hovers above the ground and fires plasma beams. Perfect for mowing down zombies in style. Gameplay mechanics, Duke's one-liners. Every kill, headshot, or explosive moment triggers a new cheesy one-liner. The more ridiculous the situation, the funnier the line. Environmental destruction, blow up buildings, collapse bridges, and trigger traps to take out enemies. Duke doesn't just fight, he leaves chaos in his wake. Zombie transformations. Some zombies mutate into bigger, scarier monsters if you don't take them out fast enough. Duke's response? Hail to the king, baby! Co-op chaos. Team up with friends in multiplayer to take down world leaders and survive the zombie apocalypse together. Bonus points for team-based challenges, like who can kill the most zombies in 60 seconds. Minigames. Between levels, Duke can hit the strip club, play poker with zombies, or compete in a shooting range to unlock new weapons. Boss fights the final world leader, a mech-suited dictator who pilots a giant robot shaped like their own head. Duke has to take it down while dodging zombie swarms. Alien Overlord, the mastermind behind the zombie outbreak, reveals themselves in a massive spaceship. Duke has to board it and blow it up from the inside. Mega Zombie, a skyscraper-sized zombie made up of thousands of smaller zombies. Duke has to climb it, Shadow of the Colossus style, and destroy its weak points. Multiplayer modes: zombie survival. Team up with friends to survive endless waves of zombies. The longer you last, the crazier the weapons and enemies get. King of the Chaos, a free-for-all mode where players compete to kill the most zombies while sabotaging each other. Duke-style sabotage, of course. Think exploding toilets and shrink rays. Capture the flag. But instead of a flag, it's a bust of Duke's head. And the map is filled with zombies, and traps, and aliens. You get the idea. Common enemy typings in ARPGs and hack-and-slash games. Fun Edition by Role Behavior. Grunt Melee Fighter, the Punching Bag Brigade. These guys are the bread and butter of every enemy horde. They swing their weapons wildly, trip over their own feet, and occasionally yell, "Why won't you die?" before collapsing. Ranged Attacker, the Snipers of Doom. These enemies stand at the back, hurling arrows, fireballs, or random kitchen utensils at you. They're the reason you can't just stand still and look cool. Tank Bruiser, the walking wall of Nope. These hulking monstrosities take forever to kill and hit like a freight train. Bonus points if they have a glowing weak spot you have to hit 47 times. Swarm Weakling, the Zerg Rush wannabes. Tiny, annoying, and everywhere. They're like cockroaches with swords. You'll kill 100 of them, but 200 more will show up to avenge their fallen brethren. Elite Champion, the Glowstick Gang. These enemies are just regular foes, but with a fancy aura, a bigger health bar, and an ego to match. They drop better loot, so you tolerate their smugness. Boss, the main event. The big, bad, and often overly dramatic enemy. They have 3 phases, a tragic backstory, and a health bar longer than your patience. Mini-boss, the warm-up act. Not quite a boss, but still tough enough to make you question your life choices. They're like the boss's hype man. Summoner, the annoying necromancer. These enemies sit in the corner, sipping tea while summoning an endless army of minions. You'll hate them more than the actual minions. Healer or support, the overachiever. These enemies are the teacher's pets of the villain world. They heal their allies, buff them, and generally make your life harder. Kill them first, always. Assassin, the ninja wannabe. They teleport behind you, say something edgy, and then die in one hit. But not before making you jump out of your seat. Caster or mage, the sparkle fingers. These enemies wave their hands around, summoning meteors, lightning bolts, or inexplicably explosive chickens. They're squishy but deadly. Berserker, the angry potato. These enemies are all offense, no defense. They charge at you screaming, deal massive damage, and then fall over because they forgot to eat breakfast. Exploder, the kamikaze crew. These enemies run at you with a manic grin and a glowing red aura. You have exactly 2.5 seconds to kill them before everything goes boom. Trapper, the sneaky sadist. These enemies set up traps, mines, or pitfalls. They're the reason you never trust a suspiciously empty hallway. Flying, the airborne menace. These enemies hover just out of reach, taunting you with their aerial superiority. Bonus points if they dive bomb you like angry seagulls. Stealth or invisible, the ghostly jerks. These enemies are invisible until they stab you in the back. They're the reason you spin in circles like a maniac. Charger, the bull in a china shop. These enemies run at you like they're late for a sale at the Black Friday of Doom. Dodge or get trampled. Looter, the kleptomaniac. These enemies steal your gold, health potions, or dignity. They're the reason you chase them across the map screaming, "Give it back!" Attack! Shielder, the walking fortress. These enemies have shields, armor, or just a really stubborn attitude. You'll spend half the fight trying to flank them. Splitter, the Hydra fan club. These enemies split into smaller, equally annoying versions of themselves when killed. It's like fighting a piñata filled with regret. By element or affinity, fire, the pyromaniacs. These enemies are always on fire and they want you to be too. They leave behind lava pools, burn marks, and a lingering smell of barbecue. Ice, the frosty jerks. These enemies slow you down, freeze you solid, and generally make you wish you brought a sweater. Lightning, the storm callers. These enemies zap you with lightning bolts, chain attacks, or just static electricity from their bad haircuts. Poison, the toxic avengers. These enemies spew poison clouds, throw venomous daggers, or just have really bad breath. You'll spend half the fight chugging antidotes. Dark or shadow, the edgelords. These enemies brood in the corner, summon shadow clones, and whisper things like, "You cannot defeat the darkness. Spoiler, you can. Holy or light, the glow sticks of justice." These enemies blind you with holy light, heal themselves, and generally act like they're better than you. Earth, the rock-solid bros. These enemies throw boulders, summon earthquakes, and occasionally turn into rocks to take a nap. Wind, the tornado troublemakers. These enemies blow you around like a leaf in a hurricane. They're the reason you can't have nice hair. Water, the splashy squad. These enemies drown you in tidal waves, summon water elementals, or just splash you until you're too annoyed to fight back. Arcane or magic, the sparkle sorcerers. These enemies cast random spells that do random things. You'll either get hit by a rainbow laser or turned into a frog. It's a gamble. By creature type, humanoid, the bandit brigade. These are your standard bandits, soldiers, or cultists. They're not very creative, but they make up for it with sheer numbers. Undead, the spooky, scary skeletons. Zombies, ghosts, and skeletons that just won't stay dead. They're the reason you carry a holy water flask. Beast, the furry fury. Wolves, bears, and other animals that are inexplicably angry at you. Maybe you stepped on their tail in a past life. Demon, the hellfire hooligans. These demons are all horns, fire, and bad attitudes. They're the reason you keep an exorcism kit in your inventory. Dragon, the sky tyrants. Giant, fire-breathing lizards that hoard treasure and your patience. They're the final boss of every fantasy game ever. Insect, the creepy crawlies. Spiders, scorpions, and other bugs that make you itch just by looking at them. They're the reason you never go into caves. Elemental, the nature nuisances. Beings made of pure fire, ice, or lightning. They're the reason you carry a multi-elemental resistance potion. Golem, the rockheads. Stone or metal constructs that hit hard and move slow. They're the reason you keep a pickaxe in your inventory. Plant, the photosynthetic fiends. Trents, vines, and other plant-based enemies. They're the reason you never stop to smell the roses. Mechanical, the clockwork chaos. Robots, drones, and other mechanical enemies. They're the reason you wish you brought an EMP grenade. By special mechanics, invulnerable phases, the cheaters. These enemies become invincible at random intervals, forcing you to wait awkwardly while they monologue. Phase shifting, the teleporting trolls. These enemies teleport around the battlefield, making you chase them like a cat chasing a laser pointer. Enrage, the rage quitters. These enemies get stronger when they're about to die, because apparently losing gracefully isn't an option. Reflector, the Uno reverse card. These enemies reflect your attacks back at you, making you regret that max-level fireball. Regenerator, the immortal wannabes. These enemies heal faster than you can damage them. They're the reason you carry a debuff grenade. Aura, the buff buddies. These enemies buff their allies or debuff you, making you wish you had a dispel spell. Clone, split, the copycats. These enemies create clones of themselves, making you fight an army of identical jerks. Time-based, the chronocops. These enemies slow you down, speed themselves up, or just stop time altogether. They're the reason you hate clocks. Environmental, the stage hazards. These enemies use the environment to attack you, like dropping boulders, summoning lava, or just setting the floor on fire. Possessed, the mind controllers. These enemies take control of your character or your allies, making you fight your own team. They're the reason you keep a sanity potion.